Hello everyone. I warmly welcome you to the CTHE program organized by the Staff Development Center of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura. In today's session, we are going to discuss about a significant topic which is important for every profession, which is corporate planning. Corporate planning is a tool that is used in both public and private sector organizations. Since we are lecturers of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, having a thorough understanding about the corporate plan of this university is essential. Dr. Rukmal Veerasinghe, the chairman of the Corporate Planning Committee of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, has already prepared the corporate plan for the period starting from 2021 to 2025. I hope and I believe he is the most suitable person in teaching us about the corporate planning procedure and explain us about the corporate plan of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura. Dr. Rukmal Veerasinghe, thank you so much for accepting our invitation today. First of all, I would like to ask you about what exactly is a corporate plan.
Good morning everybody, and thank you Dr. Ayama for giving nice introduction. Corporate plan in a particular organization is a roadmap. I think you can understand about this the concept by going through the plan. Almost all of us, we have usually a plan. In the plan, what we do usually, we prepare our future goals. Maybe for 1 year, or some people they are setting future goals for about 5 years. Some excellent organization, they are setting their future goals for 20 years, 30 years, sometimes it may be 100 years even. So setting the goals and objective is the first requirement. Then we want to know that how it should be achieved. So the achievement of the corporate plan or the goals and objectives is the second part which is included in a plan. Usually corporate plan is prepared for an entire organization, but plan can be prepared for every unit, every individual and every subject which is associated with your day-to-day life. Corporate plan essentially required for large organizations like universities, and as well as private sector organization also preparing this corporate plan to understand what are the future goals and objectives and the way how the corporate level goals and objectives are achieved. Therefore, this planning process is turning our ideas into some roadmap. So understanding our future plan, looking at what would be happen in the environment, looking at what are the capacities of our organization and thinking about the growth, because plan is almost connected with the growth. So everyone who is looking for growing their future, they want to think about how to prepare such kind of plan. Specifically, it is about corporate plan. Usually corporate plan is very long term oriented rather than short term oriented. And as well as entire organization is covered. Almost all activities of the organization should be covered with the corporate plan. Again, all the people in the organization, all the units of the organization, all the faculties in the university should be covered there in our corporate plan.
Now Dr. Rukmal, let me ask this question. We often hear another concept of strategic plan. Now some might be a bit confused at this moment. Can you explain us these two concepts, corporate plan and strategic plan? Are they similar or different, or are they related to each other?
Yes, exactly. There are two concepts. One, it is about strategic planning. The other one, it is about corporate planning in the practice. But definitely these are essentially having some interrelated relationships. In the theoretical aspect, it is strategic planning. What we are doing, we are thinking about our long term achievements of the organization and translate it into specific action. So many theoretical aspects, theoretical foundation is supporting that we are engaging in the strategic planning. But in the context of the large organization, what they do, they prepare strategic plans for strategic business units. So after preparing strategic plans for strategic business units, say for example, large organization which is running in jewelry industry and again engaging in some movie making, two sections are there, strategic business units are there for jewelry, it is one business unit, the other one it is about movie making. So second strategic business unit. So separately these strategic business units are oriented to prepare strategic plan. By amalgamating both SBUs, we can prepare a larger plan or consolidated plan. It is usually called as corporate plan. So corporate plan is prepared for entire organization at the corporate level. Strategic plans can be prepared at the SBU level. However, in Sri Lankan context, mostly we are using corporate plan term called corporate plan for the government sector. Government sector organization usually they are planning to prepare corporate plan, while most of the private sector people they are thinking about they are engaging in the strategic planning process. There are similarities as well as in the practice there are little bit differentiation between the use of terms. So mostly in the government sector we use the term called corporate planning, while the private sector is mostly using the term called strategic planning.
Thank you, Dr. Rukmal. I am very clear about your explanation and all the viewers also. Now, when preparing a corporate plan, there has to be some elements that we have to include in it. Can you please explain about these key elements that are essential in corporate planning?
Yes, actually as I told you earlier, corporate planning or strategic planning process is oriented to the very long term future of the organization. So how we are transforming our long term vision into action is should be reflected in the corporate planning process. So normally organization is first thinking about, particular organizations are thinking about having a very long term future first to identify it and transform it into some communicating tool called statements. Tools for communication is called as statements. So in the very beginning of the corporate planning process, what we usually do, we identify the vision of the organization. Particular organization, a long term vision should be identified. Then after identifying that long term vision, we are trying to translate into vision statement. Therefore mostly we are starting with very broad vision statement for an organization. It is definitely long term future oriented. It cannot be achieved easily within around 5 years or 10 years, it will not be able to achieve. And again it is very prospective, it is talking about the sometimes 1,000 times greater than what is existing today. Unbelievable growth will be expected there with the vision, and it will give the benefit to the entire society. So therefore this vision is very broad statement. Some organizations are not good enough to transform this statement into wordings. Therefore some people they don't take the risk of transforming this vision into statement, but still they have a vision. They have a very long term vision. Like in our life normally we have a vision at the end of our lifetime. But in organization we know that it is continuous entity. It can be continued even generation to generation. Therefore very long future can be looked at. In the first level it is called as vision. Some people say that it is the dream of the organization, or it is like guiding star of the organization. Almost all activities of the organization will be directed towards the achievement of the vision. Then second, after the vision statement, what organization is usually do, they understand the mission. Mission is specific rather than the vision. So in terms of our organizational purpose, like being the leader in the particular industry or providing maximum satisfaction to the customer, etc., we can transform our purpose, which can be included in the mission statement. Then in the mission we expect that scope, what is the industry that you are engaging in, can be mentioned. In university usually we are in the education. In some other organization they may be engaged in financial sector. Sometimes it may be the insurance, or sometimes it may be the food manufacturing. So scope to be included in the mission statement, and then some values. important values to be included in the mission statement. So, values are like customer orientation, technological innovation, and continuous growth of the employees. Likewise, some important values can be included in the mission statement. After the vision, then we develop the mission. Mission itself includes some values, but all values cannot be presented in the mission statement. If you want, you can separately mention the value statements. There may be around 5 or 6 core values. Those are called as core values, because you never sacrifice those values even under difficult situation. Say for example, this COVID pandemic, some organization, they never sacrifice their core values even though they are facing lot of difficulties in running their organization. Then after deciding the mission, what we do, we transform mission into objectives, goals and objectives. Goals and objectives you can develop in measurable format. We say that SMART characteristics. SMART means S specific, M measurable, then attainable or achievable, time bound and realistic. So, 5 letters are representing 5 characteristics, goals and objectives to be developed with these five characteristics. Then organization is more specific to do something within around next 3 to 5 years period. After deciding goals and objectives, you should know how those goals and objectives to be achieved. Then we develop strategic actions. So, to develop the strategic action, we prepare a document called action plan. Vision, mission, goals and objectives, then strategies. Strategies includes actions, then including these actions we prepare action plan. So, action plan is the practical implementation plan for an corporate plan or strategic plan. With the action plan, we identify what are the specific activities, what are the time period, what is the time period that we are going to engage in this particular activity, and resource requirement, responsibilities given to the people can be explained in the action planning process. After preparing the action plan, then you want to transform those action into financial terms. Then we prepare a budget. Then we know that what are the resource requirement for implementing this particular action plan. And after the budget, we set the key performance indicators in order to measure our plan results, and while after implementation, you can think about how we have achieved our expected results against those KPIs. So, mostly at the end of the strategy planning process, what we present, those are called as key performance indicators, KPIs. So, vision, mission, goals and objectives, strategic and strategic actions, budgets, then it includes KPIs. Mostly these are the components included in a strategic planning process.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Rukmal. I think we start with the broad aspect, and where we come to very specific detail sections and departments in the organization. It's very clear. Now, being a senior academic of this university and leading the corporate planning team, I would like to ask you a question. And also, you have a vast array of experience in consulting many public sector organization and private organization in developing their corporate planning. Now, can you please explain to us about the procedure or the process and the main steps we have to follow in developing the corporate plan?
Yes, we understood that what are the components now should be included in the corporate plan. Actually, almost all the things to be come from it should be revealed from the organizational process. That means the people who are engaging in the organization is responsible for deciding what is the future of the organization. Even the outsiders are coming as consultant. The main responsibility of preparing corporate plan goes to the internal people. Therefore, it is definitely needed to identify the real contribution of all the people in the organization from top to bottom in this corporate planning, strategic planning process. Therefore, we believe that first requirement is understanding the genuineness of engaging in this corporate planning process. Otherwise, it will be just a document. So we want to have a real commitment towards the development of the corporate plan from, as I mentioned, top to bottom in the university, from the vice chancellor, council to the lower level minor employees in this university. They should contribute to the development of the corporate plan, because it is the future of our own organization. So we decide the future. Most of the private sector organization, there are owners and founders in those organizations. They are really engaged and committed in the future of the particular entity. But the government organization like us, we don't have now founders. When it was talking about Venerable Valvitius Ortatero, he had that kind of insight at that time. But after now, we know that it is more than now 50 years gone. We are celebrating our 60s recently. So it's a long time after the foundation of the organization. Now, generation to generation, we are the people who are bringing this organization to the front. Therefore, real commitment is needed. It's not our personal commitment usually, but it requires, like we want to think about it as our personal job. Then the contribution should come from the top to bottom. Therefore, what we usually do, we discuss with the most of the parties of the university and finding out representatives from different levels, including the vice chancellor, deans, the main people in the faculties, library, and all other divisions, including administrative as well as academic arms. So by connecting the different people, we do the awareness session first, because if you don't know the process correctly, you can't give a good contribution. With key personnel, we describe this process and then we invite their ideas. Usually, as I mentioned you earlier, we should have a broad vision and mission for an organization first, but it is not repetitively developed. After established once, it will be continued, rather changing time to time. Normally, vision and mission core values are considered as concreted. If you really understand correct vision, mission, core values, they can be remain for around 50 years, or sometimes it may be around 100 years. The very successful organization, they don't change that part. Therefore, if you are clearly identifying the vision, mission, core values, it can be kept for several years. It doesn't repetitively change. But if it is wrong, or if there are some mistakes about understanding vision and mission, you can revisit it, you can change it. After deciding the vision, mission, everything by the top level key representative of the organization, then it should be passed to the other levels of the organization from top to bottom. Then other level people, they contribute how those vision, mission can be transformed into action. So actions normally comes from the bottom to top. Then top to bottom, we are passing the long-term aspiration of the organization. From bottom to top, we are bringing the ideas for actions. Then after combining these long-term vision, mission together with the actions, we prepare a final documentation, and mostly it is realistic because it is coming from the bottom. They know that they are the people who are responsible for carrying out those activities. In the university, we are taking the ideas from the department level. So department knows that what is the next 5 years, what are the actions they want to engage in. So this collaborative process is very important in order to prepare the corporate plan. We usually have a key team representing all the sections, all the faculties, and taking the ideas together, and finally combine all the ideas and prepare the corporate plan. Then it is the members' idea. It is not ideas of the people who are preparing it.
Dr. Rukmal, I feel now you explain a lot of theory and concept surrounding the concept of corporate planning. I think our viewers are very clear about the concept. Now, I think it's the right time for us to move to the practical side of preparing a corporate plan. And for that, I believe we can take our own university and our university's corporate plan. Could you please tell us about your experience in preparing this corporate plan, because you led the team, you have a good understanding and experience to share.
Yes, starting from the beginning, I can remember that in this university, this attention goes for the corporate planning. It was started around 2005, as I can remember. Some of the senior members who were working in the Department of Business Administration, they were invited by Vice Chancellor at that time, asked to prepare a plan for our organization, this organization, because the Business Administration Department was expert in teaching strategic management. So that the people contributed to develop plan at that time, but about that period there was no big awareness about what is corporate plan within anyone in this university, except in our department we were teaching about strategic planning. We were teaching strategic management. So actually I am not sure whether it is practiced or realized the plan which is prepared at that time. Anyway, we contributed to develop the corporate plan, and the initiation was taken around 2005. There was university annual plans earlier, but the term came to the practice after around 2005. And again there was some slight push from the government side also, asking about 5 years, 3 years plans. So it was little going towards the long term planning process. Then after preparing this plan, actually we did not know whether it was practiced, and there was no big awareness among the people about the corporate plan. Even we don't know that whether leaders of the university had good idea about the plan. Only the prepared people, as I believe, had good idea about the plan, but it was not appeared in the surface level. Then later I can remember that in 2019, at that time Vice Chancellor was Dr. NLA Karunaratne. So invited us to prepare the corporate plan for university in 2009. That team was led by Dr. Shaman Udayanga. He is the head of department in the Department of Entrepreneurship now, and present Dean of the Faculty of Management Studies was also a key person in that team. Dr. Chandrakumar, Professor Chandrakumar was also presenting from the Social and Humanities faculty. Applied Science faculty presented by Professor Lalin Karunanayak. I was the youngest member at that time in the 2009 team. We spent a lot of time to make this corporate planning process aware, especially the Vice Chancellor was very keen in understanding what is this corporate plan. That was a great opportunity to us communicate the importance of the corporate plan, including all the deans, the present Vice Chancellor, and the management faculty senior Professor Sampath Amartunga. He was heading the management faculty at that time, and all other deans were there contributing their time. Sometimes we started our meeting around 2 p.m. and ended about 10 p.m. So very long hours spent. Per week it is about 50-60 hours were consumed in order to prepare the corporate plan at that time. As I remember that, it was the great attempt preparing the corporate plan for the university, and most of the future oriented decisions were taken, and I can remember that most of them already implemented. Say for example, Faculty of Technology conceptualized in the period of 2009. Then today it is a reality, and we have a new faculty of technology. And at that time we were discussing about the lack of the research and research culture within the university, research and publication culture in the university. I can remember that time Vice Chancellor mentioned that he can allocate about 200 million for research and development. Some people laugh at saying that it will be impossible. But actually after that we understood that university created the research culture, and now there is a very good scheme for research awarding that was appeared in that period, research grant scheme. All these ideas came through the corporate planning process in 2009. I think most of our senior members at that time, they were contributed to the development of the corporate plan, are happy about because our ideas now have turned to the action. Then after preparing this plan, it was continued. That means that normally we prepare the plan for 5 years, and every year what we do, we reverse it back and look at whether we have achieved some action or not. If it is not happening, we prepare again a rolling plan. So about 2015, again we started the process of preparing corporate plan. Professor Sampath Amaratunga gave the leadership as the Vice Chancellor there. Professor Disa Bandara was the previous leader of the corporate plan committee. He contributed a lot to develop this corporate plan further, and from the outsiders point of view, he contributed by establishing the corporate planning process in more formal manner and introduced even a printed document. This was the printed document which was prepared during the period of the 2016 to 2021. So very hard process was taken place in order to develop the corporate plan, and finally nice document was taken out. So it was a great period to see the corporate planning process very well and in a formal way. Former Vice Chancellor contributed a lot, including the present Vice Chancellor and all the deans. They contributed a lot to develop this document very well. So now as a university, we understood that we are capable enough to develop a comprehensive corporate plan and taking the actions in order to implement it. Then actually in this time I was appointed as the chairman of the committee. It is because of my long experience during this corporate planning engagement. This time we had a little work because we have already established the process now. Almost all people are aware about the process, and the team contributed very well because team also aware and keen in preparing the corporate plan. Now it is coming as a government compulsory requirement. Whatever the things you are sending to the UGC, they are asking about whether it is included in the corporate plan. So they are asking about what is the section that the proposal is included in your corporate plan. It has become now compulsory, and again it is well aware process now. All the people now they have experience in preparing the corporate plan. Actually it was a very great opportunity to me to prepare the corporate plan for 2021 to 2025. We have already finished the corporate plan. This month we are presenting it into the council. After presenting it to the council, it will be published.
It's a long journey when we discuss about the history of university's corporate plan, and honestly I am very proud of you, Dr. Rukmal, being one of the junior member at that time, joining to this corporate planning team, and now here you are leading as the chairman of the corporate planning committee. Now that is a good example and a role model to all our young lecturers who are joining here with us today. The extent that you can contribute to this university in reaching its academic, research and teaching dreams that we individually can contribute to achieve all this. Now let us move back to the corporate plan of our university. Dr. Rukmal, what are the key elements that we can identify in our corporate plan?
We are starting with the vision of the corporate planning process as we earlier mentioned. So vision of the organization is very important to drive all the members towards the long-term future for organization. University also had that kind of idea about importance of the vision, but till 2009 mostly the people used the motto called Vijja Upatatan Setta as the vision of the organization, vision of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura. But in 2019 we engaged in a long discussion and understood that it is just a motto, not a vision, which will derive what we are going to do in the future is not included in that motto, but with the philosophy or the background of the organization, it was continued for a long time. We asked the team whether they are good enough to take the risk of changing that motto to a kind of theoretically backed vision statement. Most of the team members agreed, and then we understood that the university being a educational institution which is contributing to the development of the nation through knowledge and education, we can develop a good vision statement So, accordingly we developed the vision statement of the university by engaging in several discussions. That statement is prosper lives through education. So, whatever the action activities of the university should be guided by this vision statement. And again there is no time frame to achievement of this one, because it is limitless duration is engaging in the process of engaging in this education and prospering the lives of the people. So, as a result of that, this was giving a long term direction for the organization, and we believe that it will cover all the areas of the education like research, teaching, learning, assessment, whatever the activities what we are doing as the university will be covered with this vision statement. Then developing the vision statement, it is now continued in this about now 12th year. It is continuing after establishing it in 2009. So, it is a good advantage to us see that it is not changing time to time. Then again in 2009 we understood our main 3 areas, which is engaging in teaching, researching and other administrative activities towards the development of the human capital in this country and transform our activities into mission statement. However, in 2015 it was slightly changed. Today our mission statement is develop globally competent citizens through our education for a sustainable future, drawing inspiration from our cultural heritage and wisdom. So, we are thinking about, we are responsible for creating competent citizens through our education for a sustainable future. And again we are not forgetting about the core value we mentioned earlier. Our core value is drawing inspiration from our cultural heritage and wisdom. Being a Pirivenna, we know that we have a good cultural foundation for this institution. So, we cannot sacrifice it. By respecting to all the co-founders and the founders of the institution, we are maintaining that cultural heritage and the wisdom which is embedded with university system. And then we develop the value system for the university. We are having 6 very important core values for the university. Those are, first one, it is academic excellence and performance. Second one, universal loving kindness and compassion. Third one, modesty and integrity. Fourth one, preserving socio-cultural and natural heritage. Fifth one, freedom of intellectual thought and creativity. Sixth one, accountability and social responsibility. So, being a very good respective organization in this society, we are bound to carry out all these 6 core values even under difficult situation. That is why I earlier mentioned that values are very important to develop the image of an institution, and it creates a wider view to the outsiders looking at this particular organization is ethical and responsible organization in this society. Through the vision, mission and core values, we develop concrete foundation for this organization, University of Sri Jayewardenepura. Therefore, we know that what is the concrete foundation, we never sacrifice and we never change time to time because almost all other activities are depending on this foundation. Then we identify what are the key performance areas of the university. Usually the education institution, it is not similar to the profit oriented organization. Our performance areas are totally different from profit oriented private sector organization. So, we identified what are the key performance areas of the organization. Previously in 2009 we had 4 key performance areas, but with the present situation we transform that 4 key performance areas into 7 for convenience and coverage, increase in the broader coverage. The first key performance area of the university, it is about learning and education. So, this key result area is transformed into the first goal of the organization. University is prioritizing its goals by paying attention into the learning and education first. So, all the actions of the university related to the learning and education is grouped to the goal number 1. So, first goal covering all activities related to teaching and education. Second important key result area is considered as research, innovation and publication. Not only distribution of the knowledge, dissemination of the knowledge, we want to engage in the creation of the knowledge. So, second goal is leading to research, innovation and publication, which is creation of knowledge mostly embedded with. Third one, it is the key result area related to the people. We know that in this process human resource is very important, academic staff and non-academic staff from top to the bottom. All the people in this organization should be concerned in the third goal. So, that area is called as people. Fourth one, it is about infrastructure, lecture halls, all other laboratories, computer systems, all these things are coming under the infrastructure. So, our fourth key results area is called as infrastructure. All the physical and other infrastructural developments are covered under fourth goal. Fifth one, some of the private sector organization, they give the priority to finance or profit, but in university being depending on the government budgets mainly, our fifth objective is given as the finance. It is mainly handling the finance in effective and efficient manner. So, in addition to that, generation is also considered there. So, fifth objective goal is of the university is covering the financial objectives. Sixth is related to the outstanding student experience. Even not just only about the main education of the university, we need to develop a balanced citizen. So, by looking at that balanced citizen, not only in the university, but even after the university, something should be done by the university. That area is covered in the sixth goal called outstanding student experience. The final one, it is about our social contribution, national contribution. Therefore, seventh objective goal area is considered as national contribution and social responsibility. So, we develop these key results areas, broader 7 key results areas, and transform those key results areas into the faculty level, unit level, library and other all administrative sections to decide what are the strategies to meet excellence levels of these key areas. They transform these areas into their own objectives, strategic actions. They prepare the strategic plan including action plan. So, next level is after the goals and objectives, we prepare a action plan. In the action plan, they mention that what are the specific tasks to be excel in learning and education, be excel in research and development. Likewise, all the faculties, all the departments, all the units, they prepare their action plans. Then action plans were amalgamated into one document, University Action Plan. After the action plan, we prepare the key performance indicators as previously mentioned. So, each and every faculty mentioned that what is the key performance indicators for learning and education in terms of number of students, in terms of the qualification, awarding, in terms of the excellence of the results like first class. Likewise, they set what are the key performance indicators that they are looking for improving in the near future, about 5 years period. Then key performance, after the key performance indicators, we transform our actions into financial terms. We have a budget for university, especially our Bursa and the administrative staff. They contributed to preparing budget for the period of 2021 to 2023. So, in the forthcoming the strategy plan, all these things are included. I think it will be published soon. All the members can access to the document and read the components in detail.
Thank you, Dr. Rukmal. It's a very lengthy and clear explanation. Seems to be when preparing a corporate plan, especially in our university, it is a time-taken task and also a complex task that you and your team undertaken. Now, could you please tell us the process as a team, the process that you and your team members completed so far, and the particular stages that you have gone through in this journey?
Usually we starting with the, if there is a plan already, we starting with the reviewing of the existing plan. That is whatever the organization we are preparing the corporate plan, we want to understand what has happened earlier. So if there is a good document earlier, that would be a great advantage to us. This time too, what we did, we understood as a member of the previous corporate planning committee, I know that there is a very good document which was contributed by myself and led by Professor Disa Bandar. So I understood that process is already there, and then we communicated with the key personnel of the university, including Vice Chancellor, Deans, Librarian, all administrative staff. We explained what is the present level. So with the present level, we can clear that whether our vision is okay, whether our mission statement is still applicable and okay, whether our core values are can be continued further. Some core values, though it is said that it is not sacrificed, sometimes it may be outdated. So likewise, we check the main elements which are considered as stable. So with the understanding that almost all the people who engage in the previous process, and they said that there is no need of revisiting or changing that stable part of the corporate plan. And again, we checked whether the areas, key results areas that I have mentioned is okay. So for myself, it was very convenient. We had previously developed stable vision, mission, values, and the areas that we want to develop our goals. Then we started the process by combining with the team. Team is consisted with all the faculty representatives and the representatives from the administrative side, representative from the library. A good team is there. They are also engaging in this corporate planning process now more than 5-6 years. So they have a good understanding. It was a very convenient task then for me to communicate with them and get their inputs. So what we mainly do, we search the previous document. If the things are okay with the existing time concern or the situation, what we can do is we can continue the same, or otherwise we want to change it. So there was no requirement of changing lot, because we had already completed that the particular part, as I mentioned, in comprehensive manner. Then we divide the task among the faculties. We ask the faculties to develop their own goals and objectives under these specific areas, and develop their action plans, how they can achieve those goals and objectives within next 5 years period. Our time duration is covering 2021 to 2025. So from this time duration, we ask them what are the actions they want to include in this corporate planning process. Therefore, all members are responsible for contributing with the idea. The faculty representative, they presented these ideas into the faculty, head of departments and the faculty members. They asked the faculty members and head of departments to prepare their department level plans. So likewise, the message was flowing from top to bottom. Then the inputs came from the bottom. Most of the lower level units, departments, sections, they started preparing their action plans. So after bringing the action plans into faculty level, they prepare the faculty strategy plan. There are 8 faculties now in our university. So 8 faculties, they prepare the plans. And again, the library prepared the plan. Administrative people, they also prepared the plan. Likewise, in the university level, I wanted to amalgamate or consolidate all the plans coming from the faculties, libraries, administrative sections, and as well as other divisions in the university. So it was lengthy process and tired process. Anyway, the people who work with me as the team members, they timely responded with required information, required action plans, and they reviewed what are the contents that I am sending time to time with the given time duration. Therefore, we could complete the task before 31st of December last year, but still we are pending to printing it. It is because of we need to take the approval from the council.
I personally feel planning is very easy than when it comes to implementation, because when it comes to implementation, we have to face quite a lot of challenges. It's unavoidable. Now, being the leader or the chairman of the corporate planning committee, what challenges you and your team or the top management administration of the university is facing right at the moment when it's come to implementation?
Yes, implementation part is the difficult part, and as well as it is the challenge, real challenge. As you mentioned, planning is easy, it is documentation process, but when it comes to the real practice, implementation is the most difficult task. We understand that it is constrained with the people sometimes, because these are not sometimes real feelings of the people, they are just giving their ideas rather thinking about implementation sometimes. But in now our university, most of the things that they are mentioning in the plan, they are knowing that they are responsible for implementing. So that is good sign. Now people know that if they put something into the plan, they want to implement it, or otherwise if you don't insert something into the plan, they can't implement it. So that understanding is there now. That is a good advantage for us now. It is compulsorily compulsory requirement now from the UGC side and as well as the government side to include all the plans into the corporate plan. So the people, they worry about now actually inserting actionable things into the corporate plan. It is a good thing when it is considered about the implementation. So the people who really should commit to the implementation part, it is not my plan or the plan of the Vice Chancellor, it is the plan coming from the bottom. In the university side, there are some contributions from the Vice Chancellor. The Vice Chancellor knows that these are possible things. Say for example, this year Vice Chancellor mentioned that lot of expansion, new faculties. So Vice Chancellor is keen and he knows that this will be possible within next 5 years period. So actually the things that you are contributing to this plan to be implemented, it should be kept in mind by the planners, not by me, it should be the bottom level planners. That is the first requirement. Second requirement, it is about the resources. We know that though we are planning, sometimes some resources will not come as expected, because mainly we are depending on the government funds. So the government is also facing some difficulties time to time, and we have limited options for external funding sources. Therefore, another big barrier for the implementation, it is about funding. The planners, they should know that this barrier is there. So with understanding that this barrier, they should include their actions into the corporate planning process. After including it, do not wait till the government is sending the budgetary requirement. We want to go behind the different people. In this culture, it is not easy taking the money from someone else. So going behind the donors, going behind the government agencies, you want to ensure that this fund will be there as you expected. So that is again additional burden to many people, because we are here as employees now rather than thinking about implementing these kind of dreams into the university. So that is a problem, but it needs real dedication of finding funds in order to implement the activities. So with the people and the funding, most of the problems can be solved. The other matters, actually those are negligible. If you can think about the commitment, real commitment of the people to implement the action, and as well as if you can ensure the resource availability, then the most of the actions can be carried out. Even some people, they are changing time to time, that is also a problem. Say for example, Vice Chancellor after 3 years may be changed, then the total direction may be changed. But fortunately in our university, we see that all the Vice Chancellors who previously engaged in the corporate planning team, therefore they know that what is the strategic direction of this organization. If someone is coming from outside, it will be totally different. So that is a challenge before us. Even head of department, after removing the head of department and replacing new one, he sometimes doesn't know about what is the direction of the existing department. So there will be a new direction with the new person appointed. That would be a kind of disturbance. But the person, if it is entrepreneurial business, owner is engaging everything, and whole lifetime he will be there. He will be create the successor, maybe a son or daughter. So he can pass that aspiration to the next person. In the university, that is also a problem. We don't have such kind of succession plan. If the succession plan is there, we can transfer our strategic direction from this generation to next generation. But it is responsibility of the members to understand that what is the long term direction of the organization and contribution to continue it.
Now, when listening to your discussion and the explanation, what I got to know is preparing the corporate planning is engaging the stakeholders, variety of stakeholders that we have in the university, starting from the top to the lower level. Now, to realize the corporate plan and its goals, we need the stakeholder involvement. So, Dr. Rukmal, so there are academics, non-academics and main stakeholders of this university. What suggestions and advices that you can give to all these people?
Yeah, first thing, it is about the participation of the process. Sometimes we inviting all the unit heads and the representative of the unit heads. Sometimes we can't see that they are really contributed to the process. So the contribution of preparation of the corporate plan is the first requirement. Then they know that it is the plan of themselves. It is not the plan given by someone else. So participation of the process should be further encouraged. If I pass the message to prepare the corporate plan at the faculty level, Dean is responsible for taking the maximum participation of all the academic members of the faculty to prepare the corporate plan. Then they are in the process and they know the process, they have given the contribution with the ideas. So implementation stage, if I know that it is my idea, I am really committed to do so. So it can be happen if the ideas are taken from the bottom level to participate it. Therefore, participation is very important. Every single person in the university should contribute to the development of the future of the university and they should give the ideas for preparing the corporate plan. Then after preparing the corporate plan, it is communication. That is very important. I am not sure how far it was communicated during the past years. Actually, I am requesting everyone to engage in the communication of the existing corporate plan from the Vice Chancellor, Dean, Head of Department. Everyone should communicate it repetitively, otherwise we will forget it. So rather letting it to forget, the communication is required. I am not sure whether the previous corporate plan is available in the web, but I am telling that it should be a public document within the university. From the competitive perspective, it is not good for giving to the outside. Being people there in this university are responsible for keeping it as a secret, but everyone in the university should know it. That is very difficult to maintain the secrecy. It is because large number of people are there in this university, but we should know that there are other competitors also. So rather letting them to know that what we are going to do, we should aware what is the future plan of the university. So make it aware. That's why I said that I am not sure whether it is on the web. Putting it on the web, they have the access, even other universities can access to corporate plan and they can copy it, especially now the private education is also there now. So looking at the competitive perspective, we should not give it to the outside, but internal every people should know each elements of the corporate plan. The last time it was distributed among all the departments, all the units, but I am not sure how many of the members have read it. So that is the problem in our context. We should know that what is the institutional corporate plan, and whatever the act we do, it should contribute to the achievement of the corporate plan activities. All responsibilities goes to the shareholders, especially internal shareholders. External shareholders are responsible for looking at our activities and asking what you promise and are you going to do it. Did you promise this one? And if you have already promised it, what is the level that you have achieved it? So external parties like we are government organization, especially we want to present it to the COP. So COP is questioning us whether you have achieved this specific mentioned goals and objectives during the time period given. So that responsibility and accountability is coming with us when we are preparing this corporate plan. Vice Chancellor and all the top leaders, they go to the COP and giving the answers to the questions answering by the COP committee. Not only the COP, all the other people like students, parents, the community, because we are depending on the government funds, they can raise questions. We have mentioned what are the things that we are going to do, so it should be presented in the actions.
Wonderful. Sadly, we come to the end of the today's session, but before we conclude, I would like to ask Dr. Rukmal about some advices. The viewers are young lecturers of this university who are the future leaders and who's going to accomplish these corporate plans and the goals that you and your team and the administration has developed. What advices that you can give to these young lecturers, especially how can they be more responsible, more active, more engaging towards reaching these dreams of the university?
Yes, definitely, as you mentioned, the present generation will be the future people who take the leadership of this institution. We will be retired after few years, but you are the people who want to continue this kind of organization. That's why I said that earlier, organization should have a continued life. So generation to generation, it requires taking the responsibility and carrying it forward. The growth is the main concern about whatever the corporate plan or the strategic plan you are preparing. So future organization should be a kind of big one than this one. It should be internationalized, internationally recognized, excellent education institution for everyone who is searching for someone in the world to come to Sri Lanka and learn. This would be a kind of one prominent organization. So big dream should be there with everyone, because we are now having the life bond with the university. Most of people, they will stay here for if you are joining with the university in 25, you will work for 40 years to the university. So it is a long duration of your life. After your home, university should be the second place definitely. You want to forget about all other things. First, it is the family development, the second university development. Definitely you want to contribute it. Sometimes it may be the first event. Some people, yes, they even forgetting about family matters, they give the priority to the university. So that is some kind of that people are there who are sacrificing their life to the university. So we are also responsible for doing so, because this institution, it should be continued further and it should be grow further by giving the service to the entire nation and to the entire world. So this future generation is responsible for carrying out these activities and dreaming about. Now most of the dreams that we have seen have been accomplishing, but still vision is there. Vision is broader and it will direct you to go further developments. Sometimes the present generation, their ideas maybe sometimes it is not further growing, but younger generation, their ideas are new. New blood is needed to engage, give inputs to the corporate planning process and dreaming this organization to become kind of world class organization. You know that 100 years ago some universities, they were started very small. Today they are world prominent organization and giving the education for everyone with high quality educational processes. So we also want to keep it now. It is almost being a university, it is almost 60 years gone, and started as a period in 1870s as I can remember. So long history is there with our institution. So we want to become therefore one of the world class organization in the future, and the foreign aspect should be definitely increased, because university is associated with the internationalized culture. We were thinking about even from 2009 how to internationalize this university, but existing infrastructure and culture, it is not supportive that much. But in the future definitely it should be. Really globalized, internationalized university is needed in order to grow further. So such collaboration, research and every action which is associated with the educational institution should be further improved. Therefore, this younger generation, they are talented than us. They are good in making connections with the world rather than us. We were mostly localized earlier. In our early stages, we can still remember that most of our academics, they were localized. but today younger generation have good potentiality to become globalized and grow further with their new talents. So we wish that everyone here, they would be real contributors of the development of the university in the future by keeping the name called University of Sri Jayewardenepura, one of the world sought after institution.
Now, for that, I can include young lecturers. They have creative and innovative ideas. They have new ways of thinking. So try your level best to contribute these ideas in your units, departments, and in your faculties. By that, you will be helping and contributing our university to achieve these dreams. That marks the end of today's session. On behalf of the Staff Development Center, I would like to thank Dr. Rukmal Veerasinghe for accepting our invitation today and doing a wonderful session to all our young lecturers who are part of CTHE program. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you to everyone joining us today.